from looking at her. And I really have lots of mentors all around me all the time. Sue and I talk about a number of things, and there are lots of women who are strong influences on me now. My husband has taught me patience. I don't know whether that was on purpose, but I have to give him some credit too. He is extremely calm in lots of situations, and he bids me to bide my time when I would not.
It's just interesting when the other two ladies were talking. I think it's something that's running through this committee about our mate that we choose, the strong women. You know, they used to say men had to have a strong wife. I think we have probably very supportive, because when she was making that analogy about her husband, that's my husband. He's calm and he's my manager, and he was saying that. And we traveled together always, and I had one opera singer friend who said, "How can you be around your husband that much? I would just die." But you know, he was my best friend, and one who was with me from the beginning, and I just see that thing running through here. But one of my mentors was that lady that I was talking about in high school. She just was everything to me. I would not have had her without her. And you're talking about your mom. My mother was an only child, and she had us 15, and to see her so strong was definitely a mentor in my life. And I guess as you go along, you have people that you respect as mentors, especially in my business. Miss Price was there for me as a young black opera singer to be a mentor and someone that I looked up to and that I wanted to be like. And afterwards, she became a friend too as well. And not just Miss Price, she is a black woman, but a lot of the other opera singers were really wonderful for me, because I was fortunate enough to be one that came in on a crest. Luciano, they were all much older than me, but I got the privilege of singing with these legends, and so it was a great, great big deal.
We all had strong mothers, and we, I guess, all learned from them. I certainly did. I'm an only child with an only granddaughter. And we got her in China when she was 8 months old, which I adore. My mentor, I suppose, in my early years was Kay Webb, who was president of the League of Women Voters. And after I left the Chamber of Commerce after 16 years, I was still a young woman and raising my son, and I started looking around, and I noticed that the League of Women Voters seemed to have the smartest and the most progressive women in town. And I said, that's for me. I'll join this group and learn something. Well, right away, they gave me a job as voter service. I had to learn the Oklahoma election laws, and ended up lecturing all over the whole northeast Oklahoma and TV and everything else. And next thing I know, I'm vice president. And then Kay decides to go to Russia on an extended trip. She was still president. So I had to finish her term, and then got elected to my own term, and then Sandy Locke, that you just heard from earlier, followed me. So that's the kind of people in that group. Kay Webb was really a big influence in my life. She was with it very early, had 4 sons, and she put those 4 sons through college. She went back to school, became a teacher, and she was always reading and studying. And just from that, I kind of emulated her. And today, I still read and study all the time. So she was a big influence on my life. And she always taught me to say, to dream, and big dream, and follow my dream. Follow your heart. And that's what I've tried to do all of my life. And she was a big volunteer, and she was very active in community activities. And see, I followed in her footsteps.
I don't know about you guys, but this next question, I can't wait to see how they answer it, because I need help. And the question is, how do you organize your life?
Jan Bryant shared some Winnie the Pooh tips, and I think I was a little bit of all of those, but one of them sort of stuck out. And that's the one that says, don't mess with my desk, I know where it is, okay? But I did, Tigger, is that what it, okay, Tigger. But I came from an early perfectionistic mother. I had a stern, perfectionistic mother who I tried to emulate and finally decided that we were not the same and that we would never be the same and that I would not be that. So I worked to a level of non-perfection. I adopted things like procrastination. That really helps if you want to be the opposite of a perfectionistic, detailed, organized person. So, I mean, you know, pick it up. You decide. You have to learn how to procrastinate. I'll do that tomorrow. Don't do today what you can put off till tomorrow, that type of thing. And right now, I'd say my life is pretty organized. I mean, I have a BlackBerry. I have come into the techno world thanks to Sue and the mayor and Treasure, wherever Treasure is, always doing these things. Everything that's put on Facebook or on the chamber website, it's in my BlackBerry. It just comes in there, and it's on my calendar. It's like magic. So that's how I'm organized now. And I mean, I don't wear a watch because that's part of my letting go of structured world. But at the same time, in order to run a business, you still have to have schedules and be organized. Now, we're not going to talk about that desk because those things are necessary. Those extra little storage spots and all those shelves. And you can imagine, I run these festivals, I have thousands of movies. So I have my library that's very extensive now, so I'm always buying shelves. So anyone going to get rid of shelves, don't call me. I may have used those.
Well, my heart's desire is to have everything in its place and to know exactly where every place is. And to a large extent, I do that. I have been derided around the family for having a library that is organized by the Dewey Decimal System. However, if you could see in my office right now, you'd think I'd never heard of the Dewey Decimal System or even a file folder. But you just have to reach some sort of happy medium. I cannot function without a calendar. So I have everything on my calendar, and if it's not on the calendar, it isn't going to happen. And I also try to keep track of things. I keep track of notes on 3x5 cards, so I have tons of 3x5 cards that have one sentence on them because it's easier to organize them once you actually get to the point where you can think about it in order. And that's basically it. But, you know, everybody in my house knows that there is one place that the plates go, and there is one place that the knives go. And if you want a safety pin, I can find it for you right now. But as far as, it makes me crazy that the paper is not all put away, and I have these enormous plans to do it. Hasn't happened yet. I guess I better put it on the calendar.
You see that we are frenetic. I was traveling all the time, not just in one spot, so you can imagine just keeping things. Can you hear?
No. Would you hand it to
Okay,
Marjorie?
she wants me.
That's still green.
No. It's red. Okay, thanks. Yeah, you can imagine traveling just all the time, and in pre computer days, my husband used to travel with all these papers, with all these credit card numbers and all these things, and now it's so wonderful with the new technology. Just have it on your telephone, you know, you can just, your calendar and all of these things you can take with you in this little telephone. But I think, I'm trying to look at my notes here, It was just organization. I had to be very organized because I had to get from one country to the next, and getting to rehearsals. Rehearsals would be there about 6 weeks and 8 hours a day. It was really a job. We just rehearsed over and over and over again, and just to get to in a foreign country, I had to learn to speak French, German, Italian, and Spanish. Just to get to the building itself, you had to be terribly organized and very professional, because you wouldn't last very long if you were late for this rehearsal or late for that, because you're dealing with the top echelon of the industry. So that was, oh gosh, I can just remember so many trips. We're writing a book now, actually. I was in Paris, and we were supposed to be at one rehearsal, and we were clear across town at another. And I was young, really young, then in my late 20s, so I was like just running through the subway trying to get to that rehearsal so that I wouldn't be late. But it took a great deal of tenacity, I think, to have a career, because you're just traveling all the time. I did anyway. And my husband, thank God for him, because he just kept the books and kept the schedules going, and just even, booking flights and doing all of that kind of thing. It's very, very busy.
Who said I was organized? Don't ask Joan what my computer room looks like. It looks like a disaster, but I know where everything is usually. I'm kind of like Ann. I have to have a calendar, and if I don't get it on that calendar, I don't do it that day. And I try to look at that calendar every morning to see which way I'm going to run. I'd mainly say plan ahead, because you've got to be flexible. Because even with the best laid plans, the wheels come off the wagon. So just ride with the tide. We're put on this earth to help each other, and that's what I try to do every day. Volunteer your time and your talents, because some group or some program needs you out there. As you can see, volunteering is my life, and that's what I'm happiest doing, is if I'm volunteering my time, because I'm retired now, and I'm only responsible for me, and if I don't do it, it doesn't get done. So get out there and volunteer, because somebody's is looking for you and just waiting for you to show up, and then they say, gosh, we could never have done this without you, and it does your heart good.
Okay, ladies, now we're going to keep this clean, but we want to know, how do you unwind, relax, and re-energize?
First, I strip naked. This is something that I tried, and I was in Los Angeles visiting my newest grandchild, number 10. My grandchildren are all labeled. They're a private collection, exclusive. Number 11 will be here on Monday. And so I thought I'd try this thing I'd heard of called relaxation. Boring, overrated. So I'm thinking that I need some tips, and that's probably a class I probably need to take. I've done that breathing and everything, and you get sort of high, and that wasn't relaxing. That's why I'm a child of the 60s, but I didn't have time to be high because I was busy. I had too many things to do, and so when I think of relaxing, I don't think of just I don't know what to do. So I usually write and read, watch movies that I wouldn't normally watch. I like to look at things, but then me and my husband have this arrangement. I always wanted a cook, so he's my cook, and he always wanted a chauffeur, and I'm his driver. So when we go somewhere, I'm the one driving, so I don't get to look around. So I sort of would like to just ride, but then that means I have to trust someone else driving.